So let's start with the big game. And the big game, let's be very frank about this, is Tennessee coming to Oklahoma. What does Tennessee have to do to beat Oklahoma is one thing. What does Tennessee have to be to be a regular season number one team in the country is another, and whether or not that's good for them. But off the rip, shout out to Danny White, who's got the timing all the way down on this announcement. They announced at Tennessee that they're adding an additional 10% increase to all ticket sale invoices. What that means is season tickets, single game tickets, no matter what you're doing, it's all going to go up by 10%. And then they're going to add another 4.5% to that 10% for football tickets. Okay, so that's 14.5%, call it 15. That's a high tax. That's a high tax to be going to Neyland to watch Tennessee play football. But also, Tennessee is well and truly back. They're so back that Tennessee fans have become rational. They are no longer irrational. They are rational about what they are and what they can achieve because they're back to where they're supposed to be, right? They're a top 10 program and a legitimate one we believe in, one we think that can sustain being a top 10 program year after year because, quiet as it is kept, Josh Heupel graduated from the University of Oklahoma. Sharon Moore graduated from the University of Oklahoma. I'm pointing that out. Just going to say, everybody want to talk noise about Oklahoma, and then we going to give you your head coach. That's all I'm saying about that. So what Danny White had to say about the ticket increase was, in this era of name, image, and likeness, there has never been a close connection between resources and competitive success. We want to be a leader in college sports. That means we want to be a leader in revenue sharing. They expect to start revenue sharing in 2025, fall 2025, which is great because the House settlement is more or less going to make that necessary if they can ever get that thing signed. Like, it was all ready to get signed, and then the judge was like, I don't like this part. Go back to the drawing board, come back. So I hope this thing gets signed so we can get on with our business and start acting like we should be acting, which is revenue generating, revenue sharing. I find it interesting that the revenue sharing is probably going to go from university to university as opposed to a big college football, say, commission or overarching, entity that might have to negotiate with a players association because we ain't got no players association and we ain't got no collective bargaining agreement. This is how it's going to have to be. However, Tennessee can do this, and it's one of the few programs, I want to say there are about 15, 20 programs that can do this because Tennessee operates at a profit. $75 million in profit they made in 2023. Revenue was up to $135, and they spent $59 million on expenses. That is called a sustainable business. That is a working business. To your point about what a university and what an athletic department is supposed to do, and they talk about giving scholarships, wait until they got to be dispersing this money out to all of these athletes across all of these programs, and you're really going to have to start pushing football and more football, but you're also going to have to say, hey, we are elite as a rowing team, as a women's soccer team, as a women's softball team, or not women's softball, just softball team, baseball. You're going to have to point out all these other ways in which your donor fatigue gets to stay low because you be winning at everything. Now, also, Tennessee is in a great spot to do this because they got the number 6 team in the country. They're on the road this week, so the fan animosity might not be there, right? Then they get a bye. So you get 2 weeks for people to just kind of cool off before you start hitting them up for, so you want to renew your season tickets for next year? And they're coming off of 15 consecutive sellouts and a home attendance of over 700,000 at Tennessee last year. They're averaging about 101,000 people per at Tennessee, right? That means that you're in a good spot, right? They also got a waiting list at Tennessee that's like 15,000 deep, and they sell about 70,000 season tickets every year. It's a really good spot for them. It's a really great spot. I think that with a win against Oklahoma, this becomes old news pretty quickly. That's just how this goes. It becomes really old news really quickly if you can go get a win against Oklahoma. And I got to tell y'all, they are in a better space to get a win against Oklahoma than Oklahoma is to get a win against Tennessee. Okay? I have kind of laid this out, but I will continue to lay this out. I've said this, and I will probably have to say this until I am dead, honestly. I am an OU fan. I've always been an OU fan because you have always been a fan of your team. I don't believe in hiding behind being unbiased because being unbiased is not true. Being fair is true. You can be fair. You can be honorable. You can be authentic. But if Oklahoma wasn't good, I would tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to hide behind any other version of this. You don't have to present yourself as a one-size-fits-all because you are a college football person first, and you got into this not because you like college football, but because you liked a team that became college football. You know what I'm saying? You get in here with Oklahoma, and then you become a lover of this sport. And I'm telling y'all, it's odd to me that I get stuck as the Oklahoma guy when Oklahoma ain't won no championships. You got Alabama fans out here, they don't catch no hell. Ohio State fans don't catch no hell. Florida State fans don't catch no hell. But me, the dude that ain't won no national championships since 2000, I'm the guy. Yeah, all right, sure. That's why I'm talking to you about what Tennessee might get away with against Oklahoma, man, because we got an offensive line issue at the University of Oklahoma. The left side, the center, it's a shambles. It don't look good. It ain't fun. We got a first-year starter that can look like Bambi on ice from time to time and looks quite literally like a deer in the headlights if you send 5. If you send 5 or more, chances are Jackson Arnold's probably going to throw the football where he shouldn't. Probably going to throw the football where he shouldn't, or he's going to take a sack. Do you realize that he is 6 of 16 against pressure? And he's been sacked 6 times, and he's thrown a pick 6, and pick 6 he threw was to Tulane? No disrespect to Tulane. It's a good football program. It's a good football team. But that is the kind of program that an elite SEC team should handle. Tulane pushed Kansas State. Kansas State is not an elite SEC team. Even they wouldn't tell you that, okay? Their way into the college football playoff is winning the conference championship. There might be 4 teams from the SEC this year that make the playoff when there probably should be 5 because that's how deep the league is. Do you realize that 6 of the top 7 in the AP Top 25 are SEC programs? They got 9 of their 16 teams in the top 25. That is a large number. So that is part of it, right? Other part of this is Tennessee has been scoring at will and stopping people. So put it this way. Feels like 2016 Oklahoma, Ohio State to me. And Oklahoma fans be like, RJ, why are you bringing up old stuff? What are you doing, RJ? Look, I'm laying it out. It feels like Austin Kendall talking noise. We ain't done none of that, by the way. Ain't nobody at Oklahoma been doing none of that. Everybody that I've spoken to has acted with a great amount of respect and reverence for Tennessee, the SEC, and the ball game that's going to be played on Saturday night. However, it was 45-24 for a reason. It's 35-21 at halftime. Now, people are going, RJ, the spread is 7. It's not going to be that bad. The spread is 7 because that's about Oklahoma. And by Oklahoma, I mean you, me, this environment that we create. By the way, Tennessee fans, it's a bad look for you to be making fun of the name Palace on the Prairie. Don't do that. We love that. That we don't call it Gaylord Family. We barely call it Memorial Stadium. It's the Palace on the Prairie. Just be respectful on that. That's all. I'm trying to help you out. Because you say that to the wrong Okie, they're not going to, shall we say, treat you with the same sort of courtesy that I would. We really like that. It's on the field. It says 100 years on the Palace on the Prairie. Like you don't play with that. Don't play with that. But that is also a nod to what we will provide at the Palace on the Prairie on Saturday night. It will be full. It will be raucous. We will be felt. We just can't play. Like that's it, right? So if Oklahoma can get into it as a crowd, it's going to be hard on Tennessee to move. It really is. Matter of fact, Josh Heupel made a really great joke because, well, it's a really great joke by Josh Heupel standards. Y'all understand the man is mild-mannered. He doesn't say a whole lot with his chest. But he said, out of respect for me in return, I expect Oklahoma to be quiet. I expect Oklahoma fans to be silent when we're on the field, when the offense is on the field in Tennessee. And I was going to see, he gets it because he understands what the environment is like because he coached in it. 2006, 2014, played in it. He knows how nastily loud it can get, the decibel level. I hope they got Holly Rowe out there with the decibel level monitor, man, because I guarantee you, it's going to be felt. Now, is that going to be enough to stop this high-octane offense? I don't know, dog. Like, Tennessee has scored 35 or more in each of the last 4 games, or should I say every game that Nico Iamaleava has started. The last time that Tennessee was held to below 35 points in a game was a 38-10 stomping that they got from Georgia. Okay? Oklahoma is not Georgia. We know this, but I need to say the quiet part out loud because somebody's going to be like, hey, we're elite on defense. I'm getting to that. Okay? with Nico at quarterback, Tennessee has scored 35, 69, 51, and 71. RJ, in my Phyllis from Moga voice, they ain't played nobody, RJ. I get you. I understand. But being able to score like that is less about being able to move the football and more about being explosive, being able to hit you hard. Now, the knock against Nico Iamaleava is he will, like Jackson, probably throw it where it ain't supposed to go. And I genuinely believe that Venables and Alley will have a little something ready for Josh Heupel and Nico. I think that he's never going to see the same look. I think his pre-snap read is going to be different than his post-snap read. And I think that that defense with Stutzman, with R. Mason Thomas, with Ethan Downs, with Billy Bowman, with Peyton Bowen, they're going to have their opportunities to get takeaways. They are. And I would not be shocked to find out that they get a couple of turnovers in this. But we're going to have to trick Nico and Josh into giving the ball away. Or as my buddy Steve put it, the S word, the bed. Like he's just going to have to play badly. I don't think he will, but that would be one way it has to go. And then OU's defense would probably have to score because, or on top of having to score, you got to get short field if you're Oklahoma in the offense, and you got to get lucky with some explosive touchdowns. And that's a whole lot of, damn, I hope it works out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not a great way to try to win a football game, is to try to get your defense to bow up against an offense that has shown you it is explosive and that it's gonna win. That offense is going to win. You're gonna get beat. It's about, can your offense take those third down stops when you get them and turn those into 6. Okay? You can't give the ball away, and you got to score 6 every time you have a possession. And then there's an opportunity there. If it's late and the game is still tight, and it's at Oklahoma, that's a game you can go win. It really is. But again, I point to the offensive line at Oklahoma. If Branson Hickman can play, great. If not, that's going to be tough. But even then, man, you're sending James Pierce and a great defense by Tim Banks after Jackson Arnold. You send 5, I don't think he's going to be able to see it. You know, like he just hasn't shown that just yet. However, even if Oklahoma to win this game the way that I drew it up, right, which is defense is playing well, defense gets, let's go say a defensive turnover that goes for 6, where it's from a return for touchdown, an interception return for touchdown, and you get short fields for the offense and you get some fluky plays, a win is just going to be that, right? It is not going to convince anybody that Oklahoma is good enough to go win the SEC championship. What I find interesting about that is if Oklahoma were to win this game, we would probably treat Oklahoma like we do Florida State last year. We would not give Oklahoma the same benefit that we give Texas, Ohio State, or Georgia at this instance, right? It would be, okay, let's see you do that the rest of the way. What will be fascinating is if Oklahoma can win, right, beat Tennessee, and let's say get to November with a chance to get into the SEC championship game, would we still be talking about Oklahoma as a program that isn't capable of winning the national championship, let alone the SEC championship? I don't know. I tell you this, man. I would love to see it. I would genuinely love to see it. I think it could be a lot of fun if that were to happen. I also get that it could really help to derail whatever Tennessee thinks they're going to do, but if they can get past Alabama and then Georgia later, it's fine. I think this is a bigger game right now for Oklahoma than it is Tennessee, not just because Oklahoma needs the win and Oklahoma plays a really tough schedule, but because this is the first game ever in SEC competition for the Sooners, and it is at home, and it is against a favorite son, and it is on national prime time television, the big game of the week. I can't wait for this. Like, this has been circled for quite some time for many of us, and I expect Oklahoma to show up and show out. I just want to see the offense do the same. I realize that I have my misgivings about what Jackson Arnold is capable of, but I was really asking this question in earnest to some folks that I know that are close to the program, in the program, and around the program. Who do you expect outside of Deion Burks to make a play on that offense? And it's guys that we ain't seen. It's Nick Anderson, who we ain't seen play this year. Andrell Anthony, who we ain't seen play this year, right? We know what we got in them from last year. People are trying to get me to get on the Taylor Tatum bandwagon, and I'm going, he can't pass block, or at least he hasn't shown me he can pass block. I can't have you out there if you are not a threat to tune up a linebacker or chip a defensive end. If you're going to get the quarterback annihilated, it's like, well, he's great in the screen game. Yeah. So is Javonte Barnes. So is Gavin Sawchuk. You know, does he give you that much more? Not right now. That's not Adrian Peterson back there. Stop talking like he is. That's not who that is. That's okay. That's fine. I just wanted us to figure out some sort of Samaj P. Ron, Joe Mixon mix back there. Maybe it's still there. Maybe it's Sawchuk and it's Javonte. But that certainly is not the offense that they've been running. Okay? It's really going to come down to Seth Luttrell, Jackson Arnold being on the same page, feeding Deion Burks as much as you possibly can, and getting anything out of the run game. Anything. Because if you can make Tennessee respect you running the football and you can push people off, then you can do some things. And maybe that's the case. Maybe that is a thing that people will be able to do. I will be fascinated. I will be. Before I get to talking about Archmania in Texas, remind you, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button right now if you like the show. That is the best way to show us the love, show us you like what we're doing. Get into those comments. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. If you disagree with something, that's fine. I don't care that you disagree with me. You ain't got to agree with everything I say. Approach it with a level of reverence, level of respect, and I will too.